Hi, this is Teresa Momber, and here's a look at the card I'll show you how to create in today's video. Create a mask by trimming scratch paper to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches and then cutting a square from the center. Prepare a card base to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches and go ahead and score that fold line, but don't crease it yet. It'll be easier to work with if you leave it flat. Use repositionable tape on your mask to secure it to the card front. Sponge in the open area of your mask using Gina K Designs Sweet Corn ink. Switch to Gina K Peach Bellini ink and continue sponging, working around the edges toward the center but keeping it darker on the edges. Switch to Gina K Warm Cocoa ink to add just a little more color around the edges. Be sure to tap off the excess ink onto scratch paper first. You want to keep this pretty light. Using the background stamp from the new French Flair stamp set from Gina K Designs, stamp the image using Gina K Warm Cocoa ink. Remove your mask. Now we're going to use the leftover square piece from creating the mask to cover up the area we've just sponged. Use just a bit of repositionable tape to hold it in place. Now use the flourish image, also from the French Flair stamp set, to stamp using Gina K Warm Cocoa ink. Stamp the image a second time in the upper right corner. And I'm using a second little mask to cover that area just in case part of it extends past the original mask. And then after stamping, remove the square. Stamp the Dream Sentiment, also from French Flair, using Gina K Warm Cocoa ink. Now we'll use the two butterfly images, also from the French Flair stamp set. The large image stamped once using Memento Tuxedo Black ink onto white cardstock, and the smaller image stamped twice. Begin coloring using Copic marker Y17, working at the center of the wings and out just a bit from there. Repeat for all 3 butterflies.
Let's see if that happens. Do you have any qualms about asking a foreign government, Russia, China, anybody, to interfere, to hack into the system of anybody's in this country? It's up to the president. Let the president talk to him.
Switch to marker YR12 and continue coloring, blending out from the previous color.
That a person in our government, crooked Hillary Clinton, here's what gives me, well, be quiet. I know you want to, save her. That a person in our government, Katie, would delete or get rid of 33,000 emails. That gives me a big problem. After she gets a subpoena, Russia or China or any other country.
Switch to marker YR04 and continue coloring, blending out from the previous color.
Trump was speaking, issued this statement from Governor Mike Pence, his running mate, which seemed to contradict what Donald Trump was saying on stage, saying the FBI will get to the bottom of who is behind the hacking. If it is Russia and they are interfering in our elections, I can assure you both parties and the United States government will ensure.
Now use marker YR07 to continue coloring, filling in the remaining areas.
Why we're even having this talk, because she legally bundled 33,000 emails from her home server. Those statements contradicting what Donald Trump was saying on stage, also contradicting what Donald Trump tweeted out moments after that press conference. I think it is important to put his words into context when it comes to the Trump campaign in general. Remember, this is a week where the DNC and Hillary Clinton are getting all of the attention because it is their convention. It should not be surprising that Donald Trump would hold a press conference in order to grab attention season whether or not.
Next, switch to marker E35 and add a little color around the outer edges of the wings just to give it a touch of brown.
Should be hearing from a candidate for president of the United States, not the kind of question or encouragement you should be getting from somebody running for the White House to encourage a foreign nation to intervene in our politics. But Donald Trump has said repeatedly in the past that all press is good press. And Katie, let me ask you about one other thing that came up today. As we mentioned, it was a freewheeling press conference with a lot of topics covered, but one of the others was the TPP, the trade agreement that Hillary Clinton has been against, but got into some hot water when one of her friends and advisors, Terry McAuliffe, the governor of Virginia, said that maybe she was flexible on that. What did Donald Trump say on that? Donald Trump seized upon that because that feeds directly into the narrative.
After coloring, use scissors to trim around the images. Don't worry about trying to trim around the antennae. We're going to be stamping these images onto our card base so that the antenna will show up then. Now we're going to stamp the butterfly images onto the card base using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I like to position my cutout images right where I want them and then slide them out of the way real quick before I actually stamp. That makes it a little easier for me to know exactly where I want to stamp. Repeat the process for all 3 butterflies. And then we'll have the antenna right where we need them without having had to have cut around something so small and delicate. Now we're going to stamp the branch image, also from the French Flair stamp set, using Gina K Fresh Asparagus ink. But be sure to stamp off onto scratch paper to make the image lighter. Repeat the process 2 more times. Now we'll adhere the butterflies to the card base. I'm using a pencil to curve the wings just a bit, and using adhesive foam squares to pop the image up onto the card base.
just simply gone too far. Now, we've seen that the campaign for Donald Trump has backed away a bit, and certainly our colleagues who are with him on the ground will be reporting more on that.
For the two smaller butterflies, I curved those wings also, but instead of using adhesive foam squares, this time I'm just using a dab of glue in the center.
To highlight what they believe is Donald Trump's lack of fitness, especially in this area, with something by what they've heard today. Kate?
All right, Kelly O'Donnell following all of it on the floor of the Wells Fargo Center. And given the events of today, we've decided to bring in Malcolm Nance. He's our MSNBC terrorism analyst. He's not a pundit, but he knows this stuff inside out, works for the NSA, the National Security Agency. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, Kate.
And then all that's left is to fold and crease your card base. And that completes today's video. Thanks for watching.